A 9th century runestone from Denmark may contain a hidden message concealed in runes that appear not to belong there. If one interpretation is correct, those extra runes invoke the goddess Freyja, hint at the fate of the dead, and transform an ordinary memorial into a carefully constructed riddle. Hello, Rune Scholar. I'm the modern Erilar, and today we'll examine the Malt Runestone, its joyful runes, and why one scholar believes its sponsor left us a puzzle hidden in plain sight. The inscription itself provides a clue in the word tæitirunaR. TæitirunaR as a compound is otherwise unattested, but the Old Norse word tæiti means happiness or joy. Staffan Fridell translated this phrase pretty literally as joyful runes. Other scholars have interpreted it more broadly as wordplay, riddling language, or poetry whose power lies in its ambiguity. The stone therefore tells us that Kolfinn hid joyful runes. If that statement is literal, then somewhere on the stone, maybe we'll find a riddle. Many runestones follow familiar formulas. Who raised the stone, for whom, and sometimes a blessing. The Malt Runestone does appear to do the same on the surface, because Vifröð made this monument after his father, whose name is Tolle. Let's take a closer look, starting at the beginning of the text, and see if we can encounter a riddle. The first line of the inscription asks repeatedly, who is the oldest of the Æsir, before answering with 3 tyr runes, quite probably an emphatic tyr, tyr, tyr. The same line also contains an otherwise unnecessary is rune, by which I mean that this letter I does not add to the predictable meaning of this sentence. At first glance, the Malt inscription does appear careless. More words contain runes that contribute nothing to the expected meaning, and other runes appear misplaced. Many runestones do contain additional mistakes, but the Malt stone contains enough of them to raise the question, is everything here a mistake? So let's keep that is rune in mind for now and keep looking for other anomalies. We do see some obvious mistakes in the carving. For example, the or rune, this A here, between the Kaun and the Rythe runes in the word Korthi, seems really jammed in here, an afterthought between these two runes. And in Vifröðr's name, the Ur and the Thors rune appear to be reversed. And the AFR here, the Or Fey Rythe, has no intelligible meaning, so perhaps these are also in the superfluous category. The or and the is rune around the word sin, meaning his, also seem to be superfluous. The key to the puzzle may come in the sentence Kolfinnr folks tæitirunaR. Kolfinn hid joyful runes. So what are these joyful runes and how did he hide them? The line ends with a superfluous ur rune, and this may be our clue. Fridell proposed a striking possibility. What if the apparently unnecessary runes are not mistakes? What if those are the very joyful runes that Kolfinn tells us that he hid? So let's collect all of the extra runes from the inscription and place those in order and read those runes as a separate message. They spell the phrase Ja Freyju, invoking the goddess Freyja. The first two runes then either mean ja for yes or hja, the Old West Norse preposition with. So what might with Freyja, or the yes of Freyja, indicate? If the hidden message truly invokes Freyja, the question becomes why a memorial stone might conceal her name. In Grimnesmål and Gylfaginning, Freyja receives half of those slain in battle to her hall within Folkvang, while Odin receives the other half. If Fridell's reading is correct, the hidden message may identify Freyja as the goddess who received Vifroth's father in the afterlife. This hidden message may not be the only clue that the stone was intended to do more than commemorate the dead. The inscription also mentions æiwinrunar, eternity runes, which are said to chase out into the sun a dwarf called Billing, who is also known from Völuspá and Hávamál. This detail may be significant because dwarves, like trolls, were known to be harmed by sunlight in Old Norse literature. In Olvismol, for example, a dwarf is destroyed when exposed to the rising sun. The eternity runes therefore seem to function protectively, forcing a harmful being away from the monument and into the daylight. Whether Fridell's interpretation is correct is still being debated by runologists. The extra runes may be deliberate clues, or they may represent ordinary carving errors that later readers have interpreted as meaningful. The Malt Stone remains remarkable because it invites exactly that kind of investigation. The inscription poses a riddle about the oldest of the gods. It invokes Tyr repeatedly. It may conceal the name of Freyja, and it shows us the magic of runes to drive away a supernatural threat. Taken together, these elements suggest that the stone was meant to be more than a memorial. Next time, we'll continue examining embedded meanings by analyzing an inscription that features bind runes and a possible curse. Until then, thank you for reading the runes with me, the Modern Erilar.